Once in the realm of Tir Asleen, two women were born beneath the same constellation. Two gifted children of magic, destined to stand on opposite ends of history. Fin Raziel, the enchantress of light and wisdom, and Bavmorda, the sorceress queen whose hunger devoured the world. They studied under the same masters, they loved the same prince, and they destroyed the same kingdom. But what if their conflict was never about good and evil, but about what happens when the same divine power chooses two vessels who interpret creation in utterly different ways? Welcome to Spellbound Studio, everyone. This is Fan Art Friday. Please become a star in the Spellbound constellation by liking, subscribing, commenting, or sharing this video. If you would like to further support the studio, check the links in the description below. Long before Nockmaar was a fortress of shadow, the valley of Tir Asleen was a place of learning and light. Magic was not feared, it was studied as an art. The fairy queen Shalindra guided the kingdom's young adepts, teaching them the harmony beneath all living things. Among her brightest students were Fin Raziel and Bavmorda. Both were brilliant, and both were touched by destiny. Fin Raziel was gentle and wise. She mastered her spells through empathy and calm, and her magic was symphonic. Each enchantment was a note in the balance of the natural world. Bavmorda, by contrast, was prodigious from birth. She levitated objects as an infant. She deciphered ancient sigils before she could read. But there was something restless in her spirit. It was a curiosity that refused to stop at boundaries. One fateful day, their shared study led them to the castle library, where fate presented Bavmorda with the Malatrium, a grimoire of dark origin that revealed itself only to those it deemed worthy. While Fin Raziel used her gift to summon a sparrow and release it back to freedom, Bavmorda transformed a finch into glass, just to see if she could. This moment marked the first fracture in their friendship and the first spark of a rivalry that would echo across centuries. Not long after that, Bavmorda vanished. Some thought she was abducted by a forgotten sect known as the Order of the Worm, where she was remade through dark initiation and given the favor of being called the Crow. When she returned to Tir Asleen, she was no longer the student that everybody remembered. Her beauty was still radiant and her mind was still sharp, but her magic had deepened into something ancient and frightening. At court, Prince Michael Tanthalos, who was engaged to Fin Raziel, found himself drawn to Bavmorda's power. Through enchantment and charisma, she took his heart, and with it, the throne. Her wedding was both a coronation and a curse. The poets of Tir Asleen spoke of day marrying night, and soon the valley of learning was drowned in whispers and fear. Those who opposed Bavmorda vanished. The old king and queen died mysteriously, and even her own husband, who was once the realm's golden heir, faded into shadow. Bavmorda now ruled the Nockmaar, a citadel of black stone, and her name became synonymous with dread. Fin Raziel, the rightful enchantress of Tir Asleen, stood against the new queen. She gathered druids, sages, and the faithful to challenge Bavmorda's reign, not with armies, but with light. The duel between Fin Raziel and Bavmorda was legendary. The spells clashed like storms, magic carved symbols into the air, but Fin Raziel's compassion made her hesitate, and Bavmorda did not. Unable to kill her rival outright, Bavmorda transformed Fin Raziel into an animal, a possum, and she exiled her to a lonely island surrounded by mist and cold water. Generations would pass before Fin Raziel's voice would be heard again, but even in exile, her faith endured. She watched and she waited, and she dreamed of the prophecy that would end Bavmorda's rule, a prophecy written long before either one of them were born. A seer spoke, "A child shall be born with the mark that will end the demon queen's reign," and that child was Willow. Bavmorda was terrified of this prophecy. She ordered every pregnant woman in her kingdom imprisoned. None would be spared, and yet the destined child still managed to escape. She was carried away by a midwife, and she was ultimately found by Willow of Good, a humble Nelwyn farmer whose courage would reshape destiny itself. When Willow sought Fin Raziel for guidance, he found her in her animal form, frail, patient, but unbroken. And through him, Fin Raziel was freed, and the old magic stirred again. And together they marched towards Nockmaar, where Fin Raziel would face Bavmorda one last time. The air inside of the Queen's throne room burned with power. Bavmorda's ritual of oblivion was nearly complete, a spell that would banish Oloredan's soul into the netherworld itself. Fin Raziel entered the hall not as a rival, but as a mirror, the reflection of what Bavmorda could have been. Their magic clashed in bursts of light and shadow, and the walls themselves screamed with energy. But in the end, Bavmorda's arrogance doomed her. Willow's illusion made her believe the child had vanished, and in her rage, she spilled her own spell's essence upon herself, which consumed her in a burst of lightning and storm. And the demon queen was gone, the empire crumbled, and yet the echoes of her magic still remained. Years later, Queen Sorsha, Bavmorda's daughter, would rule Tir-Asleen. Her heart was torn between her mother's shadow and her father's light. Willow once told her that Bavmorda's spirit survived, not as a ghost, but as a lingering echo within her bloodline, and that someday it might awaken again. Even in peace, the kingdom carried the curse of its history. The forest still whispered Fin Raziel's name, and the walls of Nockmaar still said Bavmorda's name. Two women, two powers, one fate. And the question that remains, were they ever truly enemies, or were they just reflections of the same divine source? If you've enjoyed this dive into the myth and magic of Willow, please leave your thoughts in the comments. It does help this small studio shine. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, stay spellbound.